How's it, chaps, and welcome back to the Burton Builds garage. In today's video, we take a look at the step-by-step method I use to change the oil in my vehicle's differential. Rear axle, diff, whatever you want to call it, practically the same thing. So let's get started. So today specifically, this vehicle is a 2006 model Toyota Hilux 2.7 VVTi, the 4x2 version. Now this will probably also translate over to the 4x4 version, or generally any vehicle that has got a differential or a rear axle. Now just keep in mind, specifically for your vehicle, maybe you want to check your maintenance manual or go and consult with your service agent as to the quantity of oil that you're going to need, or maybe there are specific procedures that you need to follow to change your oil. So just check that out before you get started. The tools that we're going to need today, on my vehicle specifically, yours may differ slightly. Mine uses a 24mm socket or 24mm spanner, doesn't really matter, whichever one you prefer to use. That's for the drain plug and the filler plug. We're also going to need a jack and jack stands. I'm lucky enough that I actually don't really need to use these two items because my vehicle is high enough, but maybe yours is quite a low vehicle, so you need to jack it up. Just remember that if you are jacking it up, please use jack stands and insert them, locate them properly. So jack stands aren't always safe, or I should say rather, they are only safe if they are inserted and located in the correct positions. So keep that in mind. Other things that you might need is maybe an old paintbrush, rag, just to clean up around the area, and in my case that was pretty much it. As for the oil I chose to use, specifically I chose this one. I bought it from the Toyota dealership. It's just their general rather their differential oil. It does match the spec according to my vehicle's book, which is a good thing. And funny enough, buying it directly from the agent was actually cheaper than going to many of the parts stores locally. That's not to say in your area that your agent is going to be cheaper. Just shop around. Also, talking about the quality, you may get higher quality versions, but I can tell you now that Toyota is not going to sell a spec for their vehicles that is not up to their standard. So how long is this job going to take us? Well, it's pretty quick, especially if you don't have to jack a vehicle up, and that's going to be around 20 to 30 minutes. Something else that you may need is a new sealing washer. Now you're going to find the drain plug and the filler plug both have these washers. You don't always have to put new ones on, but they're relatively cheap, so if you're not too sure, just pick some of them up. Otherwise, there are going to be another couple of these videos coming out. They may have already been published or they are still in the works. So don't miss out on them, and make sure that you have subscribed and click that little bell icon to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the future content. Okay, let's get started. We start off by reversing the bakkie into the garage, and as mentioned before, I prefer working inside the garage rather than outside in the dirt and dust. At the bottom of the rear axle, differential, diff, whatever you want to call it, there is a drain plug. Before removing any drain or filler plug, I like to clean the surrounding area, especially around filler plugs. So, using a wire brush for the stubborn dirt and a soft brush and rag to remove the loose stuff. Using a breaker bar, I crack the drain plug loose, and mine uses a 24mm socket, so your size may vary. Next up, I'll place a container underneath the drain plug. This is the container we're going to catch the oil in. Then I completely remove the plug by hand, being careful not to drop it into the oil. Also keep in mind the drain plug should have a washer on it. Try not to lose this into the oil either. While the oil is draining, I'll clean and inspect the drain plug. This drain plug has a small magnetic insert. This should catch any small metallic pieces that might wear or chip off inside the diff. You'll notice mine has a bit of gunk, but nothing too serious or out of the ordinary. I'll also remove and inspect the washer. This one still looks great. If yours is slightly damaged or looks a little bit dodgy, don't hesitate, just put a new one on. They are not very expensive items. Once the oil has completely drained, I'll wipe off the sealing surface around the drain hole, screw in the drain plug and tighten it up. If you want to be super accurate, check out your vehicle's torque requirement for this plug. In my case, I just pull the bar until my elbow clicks like a torque wrench and we are sorted. Just kidding, I've done this a few times and you can pretty much tell when tight is tight enough. Once the drain plug is back in, I'll move over to cleaning and removing the filler plug. Pretty much the same way as before: wire brush, soft brush, rag and Bob's your auntie. My filler plug also uses a 24mm socket, same thing as before. Crack it loose, open it up. In my case, the plug was tight and I had to use a long breaker bar to crack it loose. This is probably a little bit overstated though, because I didn't have good leverage the way I was sitting and crawling underneath the car. Nevertheless, I got it loose. As with the drain plug, we'll clean and inspect the filler plug and washer. We'll also clean the sealing surface, and in this case, I needed to scrape off a little bit of stubborn dirt. Filling the oil is fairly easy, especially since these bottles have a pouring spout built in. According to my vehicle's book, it takes 2.9 liters of oil, but I ended up putting 6 500ml bottles in, a total of 3 liters. And if you look really closely, you'll see the oil is just below the level of the filler plug opening. That's perfect. And last but not least, screwing in the filler plug, tightening it up and cleaning the area of any spilt oil. And one more thing you want to do is check for any immediate leaks. You may also want to take the vehicle for a test drive and watch it over the next couple of days just to make sure that it doesn't develop any slow leaks. You really don't want to be running out of oil in your differential. Also, out of a matter of interest, we removed 2.7 liters of oil from the diff, and it takes about 2.9 liters, so wonder what happened to the other 200 odd mils. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. And yeah, let's talk in the comments. Tell us about what you thought about the video. Tell us about your experiences about working on your vehicles. Chaps, I suppose that is it, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.